Hey, you behind the screen. Thanks for watching and learning how to graph absolute values and radicals. So I did have a lesson video as well to help you with. Here we go. Nice, nice. So radical equations, homework assignment. So we had to combine it this year to get through all the material. And so we did have to combine two different kinds of graphs. And so the absolute value is pretty easy because it keeps everything positive. And so we learned this in class, we'll just get you up there, need a refresher. So remember that 0, 0, right, the absolute value of 0 is 0, so that's where we start. Absolute value of 1 is 1, absolute value of 2 is 2, so it goes up and to the right. Then the absolute value of negative 1 is positive 1, absolute value of negative 2 is positive 2. And so up and to the left. Yeah, like that. Now what we might not have discussed, because we ran out of time, was how the domain and range work, right? How do we do the domain and range on these problems? So you want to think that, of course, the domain is the x values, and the range is the y values, right? Yeah. So how do we find the x values of the domain? Let's do that first. We'll do range different color. Okay, so the x values is basically going to the left. What's happening? As we go to the left, what's happening? And then as we go to the right, what's happening? And so when I say what's happening is there a y value at that x value or at every x value? And so absolute value is going to be easy, it's going to be the same. So at negative 1, it's 1. At negative 2, it's 2. Negative 3, it's 3. And so forth. It's just going to keep going forever to the left. So we're going to say it's going to go to negative infinity to the left. And then same as we go to the right, there's always going to be a y value. And so that means positive infinity to the right. So the domain will be negative infinity to positive infinity. And that's for the domain. That's for the domain. Now the range is a whole other animal. Roar. Whole other animal. And so we'll go ahead and do purple. And so the range, again, the range is going to be the y values, and that actually is a little bit more limited here. And so the range, we talk about the range being the y values, we mean like y equals negative 6, y equals negative 5. And so is there anything, is the graph at all on that line or in that area of the y values? Negative 6, what about negative 5? No, I don't see the graph. Negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. Oh, that's where it starts, at y, not x, at y equals 0. And we actually have two spots at y equals 1. So y equals 0, y equals 1. That's supposed to be 1. Y equals, what's that supposed to be? Y equals 2, check mark. 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to infinity going upwards. So we're going to say the range is starting at 0, including the 0. So including the 0 means 0 to infinity, including the 0. So we're going to say that if you're going to include a point, so including, you're going to use a bracket. Including means using a bracket. And then parentheses means it gets really close, but we don't include infinity because we don't really get infinity. And so the parentheses means like really close, really close to it, but not include. Okay? So again, it's going to be 0 to infinity, right? So again, we're talking about the range. And so we'll show you in red again. So the range is from 0 to infinity. 0 to infinity. And the domain is all real numbers, negative infinity to positive infinity. Cool. So then we learned, or gonna learn, the how to graph a square root equation. And so we did like an XY table. But once you get the hang of the parent function, then you can easily go to all the other ones. And so I would use like, so -1, square root -1 is not going to work, and so forth. Error in your calculator doesn't work. So that doesn't work, no. But 0 can work, and 1, and 2 is a decimal, 3 and 4 is a whole number. So really it's going to be 3 dots. 1, 2, 3. It's going to be 3 dots when you're graphing radicals. You'll see. So the square root of 0 is 0. The square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 3 is like 1.73. The square root of 4 is 2. So those are like our whole numbers. So we go 0, 0, 1, over 1, up 1, and then over 4, up 2. And that's going to be our radical equation going up and to the right. Nice. That's not too bad, right? It's not too bad. So when you're shifting these, around, like say +2, this means 1, 2, and then that's our new graph. Or maybe we want to go right 2 and down 3, right? So down here would be y equals the square root of, remember it's opposite what you think, so right 2 is actually -2. And then down 3. Yeah, so there's that equation. But for number two, we actually want it to just be the parent function. And so again, that's here at 0, 0, over 1, up 1, and then over 4, up 2. Just up and to the right. And so this is like a different equation. That was just an example. Cool. Now, what's the domain? So again, the domain is x values, right? X values goes like this. So that's like x equals 0. This is x equals 1, x equals 2, all the way to x equals 6. And so what we're saying is their y value everywhere there's an x value. And yeah, this is going to carry on to the right, to infinity, right? It's going to carry on to infinity for the domain. This is going to carry on to infinity. So then where's the starting point? Where does the graph start? So the graph starts right here at x equals 0. And since the graph starts at x equals 0, that means the domain is going to include 0, because the square root of 0 is 0, and it's going to go all the way to infinity, forever. Now the range is actually similar. And to try to demonstrate this, let's see, I'm going to erase all this. To try to demonstrate this, I'm actually going to do something weird. I'm actually going to rotate all those lines. I don't think they'll match up, but we're going to try it. Ready? So the range is actually going to go like this. Let me erase these ones too. There we go. Okay, so the range is actually going to rotate. Instead of going to the right, instead of going to the right, it's actually going to go up. So we're going to take all that same idea that we did. Whoa, that was cool. What is going on? Oh, should I be in one group? There we go. Nope, that didn't work. Maybe it did. Nope, not yet. Wow, it's not working. Aha. Okay, so now we're going to rotate that like this. Whoa. So now we're looking at the x values. Haha, still at x equals 0. Okay, that doesn't exactly work. Good try, Abel, good try. But the lines are going to be the same. We're going upwards instead of to the right. We'll go ahead and start over. Still trying to go back to what we were. Okay, what's going on here? That's a lot of moving around, huh? Okay, there we go. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to erase that. Cool. And so all these lines were representing the x-axis going to the right. Okay. And so now we're actually going to be going upwards, because range is down to up. See that again? Range is down to up. So range is is left to right, and range is down to up. It's really important to know that, actually. Really important to know that. Range is down to up. So that means we're going to see if there is an x value everywhere there's a y value. Okay? Here we go. Here we go. So you have 0, 0. What about at y equals 1? Oh yeah, there's an over 1. What about y equals 2? Oh yeah, that's at x equals 4. Okay, well what about y equals 3? Is there something at y equals 3? Way over here at 9. Because the square root of 9 is 3. So yeah, way over here the graph will still hit. Should we do that in red? Way over here the graph will still hit. And so that's going to work, and it's going to carry on slowly, every single one. It's going to take a long time to get there, right? Yeah, because you got to go all the way for 8. For 8, you have to go all the way over to x equals 64, because the square root of 60, square root of 64 is 8. So it's going to take a long time to get up to 8. You have to go all the way over to 64 before you can get 8. But technically, yep, it'll carry on, and eventually, slower, but eventually it will reach infinity eventually. So again, we're going to say at, this is supposed to be y now, because we're in range. So at y equals 0, to infinity, slowly go to infinity. So same thing, but this time 0 to infinity for the range as well. Okay, so let's see how that changes on number 5. Let's help with number 5 next. Okay, so this time we're doing absolute value, and what's that negative mean? Upside down. Yeah. So again, negative 4 means opposite what you think. Opposite what you think. Negative 4. So instead of left 4, because you think left 4, it's actually right 4. Actually right 4 and down 3. So we're going to go right 1, 2, 3, 4 and down 1, 2, 3. So here's where our graph is, okay? Here's where our graph is. And so again, it's right 4 down 3. I was going to go up and to the left, but because of the negative, it's actually going to go down. So right 4 down 3, and then down to the right, down to the right, down to the left, down to the left, doing for a matching graph on canvas. Cool. Again, the domain as we go to the left and to the right, the domain as we go from left to right, right, that's the domain. As we go from left to right, from left, because this can be tricky, domain and range, I was tricked up when I was in high school. So as we go from left to right, is there a y value everywhere, that there's an x value? Or where is it? Where is the graph? So absolute value is different than radical. So absolute value will be, going to the left, right? So we're going to start at negative infinity, which goes down forever. And then as we go to the right, which also goes down forever, it's going to be negative infinity, positive infinity. Because everywhere on the graph there's a point from left to right. So negative infinity to positive infinity. Now the range is going to be a lot of it different on this one. The range, right? Remember that the range now. So the range is going from down to up. Okay. So this goes all the way down to negative infinity. So our graph is actually going to be down here, right? It's going to be down here, negative infinity, slowly going up. Right, negative infinity, slowly going up, so we get to that point, and it's going to not go any higher than that. What is that point? Well, remember, range is y values, range is y values. And so that point right there is actually over here at y equals -3. Yeah, because it doesn't go higher than that. So the range is going to start down below at -infinity until we get to -3. And it will include the -3 because absolute value, when you plug it in, you can have what? You can have a -3 in there. -3 minus 4 is -7. And then the absolute value of -7 is a +7. Don't forget the negative on the outside, -3. What the? So it'll be -7 minus 3. Ooh, that's confusing me now, actually. Oh, this is y value. Ha! Never mind. You have to put a -3 there. When you plug a -3 in there, solve for x. Yeah, you'll end up with, it's going to be at 4. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. Don't want to confuse you there. Okay, so -3, -3, including the -3. Including. Yep, so that means bracket whenever we include, parentheses whenever we do infinity. Basically, yeah. Okay, so then we'll jump to number 10 now and do another one. Ooh, radical, upside down radical, dang. Okay, this time we are again going right, remember opposite what you think, so it's actually right 4, because it's opposite what you think. You think left 4, but it's actually right 4. And then we're going to go up 3, and that's the beginning of our radical. So right 4, 2, 3, 4, and then up 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's the beginning point of our graph, right there. Did you know that's actually your domain and range? What are you talking about, Mr. Nubo? You'll see. So that's over 4, right, 4, and up 3. Well, that's technically the x value and the y value to do with your domain and range. Didn't really teach that, but that's actually kind of trick to doing domain and range for square roots. Okay, so again, the negative means it's going to go upside down. Can't be found. Nice, upside down. Okay, so upside down, so that means that it's going to go upside down. So instead of going up to 1, no, we're going to go down, over 1, down 1. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to the next one. Yeah, like that. And there's our upside down graph. And if you're not sure that at 8 it's actually 1, we could check, right? Because I think that x equals 8, y should equal 1. So you plug it in. So if we put an 8 here, 8 minus 4 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. But it's going to be a -2 because after the negative's on the outside. And then plus 3, and 3 minus 2 is 1. It works. We're over 8. You plug in an 8 like do an XY table. And you plug in an 8 and you get 1. Okay, so that means that here's our graph. Remember 3 dots. Over 1, down 1, over 4, down 2. Cool. Okay, so that means our domain and range are going to be kind of weird. So remember, the domain's pretty easy. The domain is just this number 4. So it's going to be starting off at 4 and going to infinity. If you're not sure why, it's because at x equals 4, you see it? You see that? That's along the x equals 4 line. X equals 4. And then here, and here, and here, and here, and here to infinity. Woo! Now we're going to switch it for the range, right? Switch it for the range. So the range is going to be here at +3. That's not a very straight line, is it? Sorry. Okay, so at 3 and then down, down, down. So -infinity to 3. Because it's going from down to up. Oh, don't forget, it's down to up. And so if we're starting at down, which is -infinity, and then going up until we stop at y equals 3, because range is the y values. So we're slowly going up there. Cool. Okay, awesome. So I'll do a little bit of the review too. So watch my next video. This is kind of a long one, but we really wanted to help you on 1, 2, 5, and 10. And should we just jump down there fast because this video is nearly done. So on Canvas is where you're going to submit your answers, right? On Canvas, we're going to submit your answers. We just did number 10. And so for number, wow, look at all these graphs to choose from. That's question 5. There's question 10. So again, what was our domain? Our domain was bracket from over 4 to what? To infinity. Close parenthesis around the infinity. And then our range was parenthesis negative infinity, going all the way up to the y value 3. So that's how you input these, including the 3, put a bracket around it, including the 3. Right? And then that's, what the, that was the square root for 10. Oh, what was the graph though? What was the graph for 10? We just did the domain and range. Well, it was upside down and going to the right, and there it is right there. Because it's this one right here, the first one on the left. Ignore the one on the right, that's just in case. That was the parent function, that was number 1 actually. Okay, beautiful. And then when you get down here, ooh. So don't forget to watch that video, it's really good. Yeah, Brock, give me your best. So remember that this one, right, y equals the absolute value of x minus 3 means opposite of what you're thinking, not left 3, but right 3. So we're going to go ahead and do a shift, if it lets me. We're going to do a shift to the right 3 only, shift to the right 3. Down here would actually be, what would that one be? Do you have a guess? Give it a try. So x plus 3 in the absolute value, and then minus 3. Well, remember it's opposite of what you think, so left 3, down 3. So then we look for left 3, and we look for down 3. Can you even find left 3, down 3? There it is at the top, left 3 and down 3. So that's just basically describing the movement, the transformation of shifting. And then, cool, so make sure you're in class to get help with these guys, right? Make sure you get help with these guys, ACT review, not on the paper, right? But this one you can kind of see, I mean, what are you going to do there? You're going to divide by 9, so negative 11, so negative 11, divided, so you won't let me do it. Oh, so negative 11 divided by 9, so negative 11 divided by 9, and then we're going to add 9. So we're just going to get a calculator and do negative 11 ninths, and then add 9. Do you have a guess of what that is? So negative 11 divided by 9, and then enter, and then add 9. And so then we go math frac. Get a calculator here. So 70 ninths. 70 ninths is E. Okay, you guys screen, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Keep on learning. Keep coming to class. Bye for now.